everybody, I'm Joe Cabello, and I'm so excited to be here with actresses Tessie, Herrasti, and Andi, Yuma, here to talk about their play that they're putting on, Matilda and Lula, at the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival. Well, hello.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
I'm doing excellent. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the specifics of the play and the festival, but why don't we just get to know you two a little bit? Why don't you tell us about yourselves?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Tessie Herrasti. I'm a Mexican actress. I started a long time ago to do theater, my theater major and studies, and then I ended up doing a lot of absurd and clown approaches to theater, which marked a very important part of my career and my vision of the world in theater, at least. And then I started to do some film and television in Mexico City. I moved to Paris. I studied there. And now here I am in Los Angeles trying to follow through with my career as an actor and performer.
Well, it's amazing. Quite international. Very good. And Andi, how about you?
I'm British American. I grew up in France and in England and kind of moved around a lot. And then sort of started exploring theater at a young age in France, and then continued studying in London for about 10 years. And now, focusing on screen and still, exploring my love for theater in LA.
Very cool. And from what I understand, this is your play and you wrote it, Tessie.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how this play came about, the idea, all of that.
This play I started figuring it out when I was speaking to some friends in Mexico about creating something where I could act with another woman. And the idea of having two characters inside a very small space was often in the conversation. So I was part of a company of theater, of absurd theater in Mexico. But then when I came here, it was obviously impossible for me to just divide myself in the two countries. So I decided to focus more of my career here. So then I said, well, why not just start it here? And then I started writing about this idea of two women living in a very, very small space. And then the process kind of happened by itself. I just sit down and started writing, and the characters spoke about their story. It's a very interesting thing because I had so many ideas in my head about belonging to this new country that I was moving to, and trying to create community, trying to have some friendship, true friendship, and then I just started writing about these two women that survived World War II and were trying to establish a home after the war, after losing everything, all of their identities. So that's how it started. That's
very good. And as I understand, it's part of the larger piece.
Yes.
It is a longer play. So how did this come about with the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival?
They said they loved the play, they loved the idea, that it was a different idea of what they've seen or read before. And they absolutely loved the concept of putting an excerpt of 10 minutes. So
that's very cool. So are you the only, or one of the only, that is just doing an excerpt of your play?
Yes. All of the other plays are 10-minute plays.
That's very exciting. Yeah. And as far as you, Andi, what drew you to the project, and how do you feel connected to it? It seems like Tessie has a real personal connection of moving and looking for friendship. How about you?
Well, I've definitely moved a lot. I've never really stayed in the same place for more than 3 years, so definitely had a lot of experiences discovering new countries as a child, and that search for what home is. And I think I'm still looking for that, what home means to me, and to one day have that is something I'm still looking for. And similarly with friendship, and every time you move, you leave those friends and you have to start again, and it does become very very tiring on your kind of soul in a way. And I kind of understand how our characters how they feel in their continuous search for home. And also the fact my character is a British character, so that obviously helps, having lived in in England, and we have some French that we use. She's a spy, so she speaks several languages, and that's obviously something that is it is who I am in a lot of ways. Not that I'm a spy, but that was always a second career choice. But yeah, Tessie, I read an early draft, or I heard her read an early draft of the play at an artist gathering, and was immediately just kind of so curious about it. And then she proposed that I be Matilde, and I was like, of course. I love this play. It's so interesting. And I think she's a very talented writer.
That makes me wonder, we're here in LA, and especially outside of LA even, you have short form content. People are shooting 30-second Instagram videos, Snapchat stories, and things like that. What drew you to writing a play that will be in its entirety an hour, maybe longer? What spoke to you to do that format opposed to maybe putting that creative pursuit into something much more short form?
Yeah. Well, I think that when you're as a performer, as an artist, the creative process obviously takes a while to happen. We are constantly trying to keep up posting photos or something interesting to say. I've never clicked really with just posting photos about myself and saying, hey, I'm having dinner, or yeah, I'm having whatever I'm doing, right? I just found that I had to find something else to say. So in this play, I couldn't do it in a format where it's really fast and just all the time, like trying to bring all of this information and all of these characters, and because life itself doesn't happen in one day. So for me, it was more important to have the creative process where I can actually get to know Andi as a person, get to know Matilde with Andi and Andi with Matilde, and me as Lula, and all of this atmosphere and place that I wanted to create with the play, and also be able to touch other people with this idea of not everything happens just so fast. Everything has a process, and also it takes time to cook, right? I don't know, like you doing a stew and you have to wait for the stew to be ready. It's not like, oh yeah, 5 minutes and then bidding, like I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like to you that process is as important as the outcome, which I think maybe could be a criticism of some shorter form trying to get it out there content.
Not really. I just really wanted to do something where I could spend more time creating and not to have it very just futile as it is. It's already like art is just so ephemeral as happiness is ephemeral in life. So I wanted to make it last. So I said, okay, how can I make it last and also use my abilities as a writer or my abilities as an actor? And theater became the first answer to all of that, where I could put all of the arts in one single presentation.
Very good. I want to talk a little bit about these characters because you two seem to connect really well with them. So, Andi, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character, maybe what you guys have in common, what you don't have in common, and what you really like about playing that role?
Well, like I was saying before, Matilde was a spy, but the play takes place after the war. So she is post-spy, and she's regressed back to a version of herself that's much more childlike. She's a lover of, clothes and fabrics and makeup. But the irony of it all is that they're broke. They have nothing. They're destitute. So she kind of fashions things from nothing and imagines that. And her imagination plays a big part in the plot building and the character building, and everything kind of holds on by a thread, which is her imagination. And I think that I've always loved fashion and things like that. I definitely take a lot of pleasure and joy in like material things, even though sometimes being materialistic is kind of a bad word. But in this case, that's where I get the joy that she gets. She loves the new adventures they go on. She loves the clothes that she has, even though to to the normal eye, they're awful and old and broken. I definitely I feel like I have a same sort of hunger for life and what it has to offer. I definitely have that same, desire to explore the world. And she's such a dreamer, she's always imagining different scenarios for herself. And that's where, I'm an actor. That's literally what I love to do, is imagine different lives for myself. And in a way, Matilde is an actor. She dreams up this life for herself and these characters. And we have a lot in common, but also a lot that she has to teach me about the war. And because obviously I've not lived through a war, so the research process is kind of educating me on what I didn't know before about her and the war.
And how about your character? And obviously you're the one who wrote it, so you're going to have a deeper connection even.
Yeah, I think that Lula, she's a loner. She doesn't really like being around people. She got a different approach of the war because she was an Hungarian Jew. They've been hunted by the German government, and then they're sent to the camps that are only for the traitors and the communists and all of this that hold the information, right? She's not sent to Auschwitz, or she's sent to another camp, and that's where she meets. So she's sent to this camp where the traitors and communists and are there. So she meets Matilde there, and they bond in a way that it's very peculiar, because why would a Hungarian Jewish bond with a British spy? I don't know, but they seem to have this connection that Lula wants from another human being, that she likes to hear her dream and to have that light of life that she has kind of lost. And she's obviously submerged in her books, in her intellectual approach of the world. She has been living with this professor for all her life, so her life standard has been always be perfect, always learn about anything. She speaks a lot of languages, and it kind of speaks to me the way I love languages and to learn about new cultures and everything. I am not Jewish personally, but I am doing research. I have the help of a very dear friend of mine, Karen Golden, and it's a professional storyteller, and she is Jewish, so she has told me about how to approach this character. I do not wish to approach it in a very religious way, because that's not my intent with the play. My intent is not to criticize or to emphasize a moment in history that relates religiously to a period of time. It's more about the fact of how these characters give themselves the strength of surviving a moment of time where they're ripped of their humanity and their essence and their identities, and where they don't have anything but themselves to hold on to and move forward. And then when they escape the war, they continue to give each other that strength. And that's something that I cherish personally a lot. I'm a social being. I cannot survive in the shadows. I am very gloomy, like Lula, in many ways, and I love my solitude as well. It's very weird. It's contradictory, maybe, but I do enjoy the company of friends, and I do not find life interesting if there's nothing to share with another person. If I only keep myself in the dungeon and then never come out, it's not really interesting for me.
Certainly, and these characters being so connected, it's also nice that you two get to kind of build the play together. Is that correct? Because
yes.
Writing is just one stage of it. Now you guys are actually trying to block it, trying to get certain things to work together. Can you explain a little bit about how that process has been?
Well, for me, it's been such a joy to just play around, and Tessie's also a great director. I don't know, it's just this sense of, let's let the language soak in and then see what happens. And then we've found moments of rhythm and moments of physicality that just kind of grew naturally from the tempo of the writing and the tempo of the characters. Matilde is a little bit more all over the place and kind of flighty, and Lula's a little bit more grounded, I feel.
She has a little bit more
somber
the obsession of a structure. She likes the things done like this. She has her books, she has her ink, and she's more like a dreamer. She's the light of the space that they have. It's like a contrast between day and night, and happiness and sadness, but in a very subtle way. It's not black or white. They have many nuances between each other, but it has really been a pleasure to me to do this with Andi, like in a collaboration like terms. She has been so open to me for like my lack of experience as a theater director, because this is my first experience writing and directing theater. I'm not like afraid to say so. I've been acting a lot in theater, but it's different when you have the director, the producer, everything there already, and you just deal with your character, with your lines, and with building that. But here I have to worry about everything and how I present it to the festival, and also everything that I have to like think about, how to make her look good, how to make her also shine on stage. It's a very important part of how I see things. I want to make her also look really interesting in this character, and also she's giving me so much of her heart. She has never asked anything in return. She just gives herself in all the rehearsals. She gives her time, her money, her essence, and that I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, because I couldn't be doing this without her, honestly.
Gonna make me cry.
And I do want to talk about some of the style of the piece. I know you've mentioned absurd and clown and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about like what you would call the genre, and if you could speak a little bit about to that absurdist style that will be part of it?
Sure. Well, this is a hybrid. This is a very weird mixture of a play. It has a lot of clownish elements and triangulation, where actually the audience becomes a part of the play, but not directly. It's not like a Brecht cut where you actually talk to the audience and make them part of the scene, and they can actually interact. You kind of like interact with the audience in an indirect way. So I could be telling you something and then look it to Andi, because my final receptor is Andi, but I'm first trying to say it to you. So we play with that triangulation that it's called in clown. And it's also an absurd play. I was very influenced by the work of Carl Valentin, that it was the precursor of Samuel Beckett, and also a little bit of influence of Ionesco. I grabbed a part of how Harold Pinter writes in Ashes to Ashes. So that was also a very deep inspiration for me. And also magic realism. Magic realism of the Latin American writers as Gabriel Garcia Marquez or Juan Rulfo in Pedro Páramo and El Llano en Llamas. They bring this atmosphere of where you lose the track between a dream and the reality. It blends between them. So I think that this play has a lot of those elements. I don't know how I could really define the genre, but I think it has a lot of this.
Okay, with so many plays that are going to be showing at the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival, why should someone see your play?
I think that if you have a dark sense of humor or a different kind of humor, then you would definitely enjoy the play. This is only a 10-minute excerpt, as we have told you already, and this would just give us the opportunity for to jump forward for the big play, for the full version. And that could only be achieved if people come and see it. I think that it's a very different proposition in terms of theater. It's not something that it's usually done with, because the fact that magic realism is a literature movement and not a theater movement, then it makes it an interesting hybrid in, if I want to say it from my point of view, but I'm the writer and the director and the actress and the producer of the play.
If anyone should be saying it, it's you.
So I would like to have everyone there to see it and to talk more about this kind of art. I think that it's a good exchange of information and of a different thing. So you could maybe laugh and cry, or it will make you think something. I don't know what, but it will make you think something.
It definitely sounds like it's going to be one of the more interesting choices for people at this festival.
Thank you.
So is there anything either of you want to say to the audience leading up to this festival?
Oh, well, it'll make you laugh. That's for sure. It's very unique, like Tessie said. It's a hybrid. It's really worth checking out. And the whole festival in general is a wonderful community. They're really bringing together. It's really, it's going to be really exciting. We're really excited to kind of actually meet everyone and see their shows as well. Yeah. So we're really fortunate to be involved, and I can't wait for the Fringe too.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's there will be kind of, I think it's 60 plays, more than 200 actors in this festival. It's just an interesting way to create a theater community, an artistic community. Anyone can come and see the plays. It's really an explosion of creativity. We don't intend to do this to become important or to win a lot of awards. It's just really to get our creativity out there, to create a statement and to be able to, to present what there is here and our capacity as artists, and not just wait for opportunities to flop from the skies to our plates. It's just that. And also the Short and Sweet Festival has been incredible. The organizers, the director Rodrigo, Christian Rodrigo, and everyone there, Anna, they're so good. And I'm really glad that they gave us the opportunity to bring the play.
Well, you heard it here. The Short and Sweet Festival will be coming up very soon, so check out your tickets. We'll have links in the comments of this video, and you'll be able to click it, get your tickets. Thank you guys so much for coming, talking about it. It sounds like it's really going to be exciting, and seeing how you guys talk about it really makes me want to check it out.
Thank you so much, Joe, for having us and for your time.
Thank you.
She loves clothes and makeup. Because I'm on the Can we do that question again? I'm just gonna talk about random stuff for an hour.